And you're absolutely right. I mean, while we still very much have work to do, it's very encouraging the fact that Maryland has had amongst the fastest drops in violent crime anywhere in the United States over the past 2.5 years. It would just be great if we could have the President of the United States to actually understand that this is one of the great American turnaround stories that's happening right now, and we would love the help to be able to continue to do that work instead of this arrogant criticism and cynicism that he continues to introduce into the conversation. No, the National Guard is completely performative because the National Guard is not even trained for it.
The National Guard does law enforcement training. They do training for disasters. They do training for national emergencies.
Correct. And as the Commander-in-Chief of the Maryland National Guard, I am not just deeply respectful, but very cognizant of the skill sets that our National Guards bring. And the National Guard is not trained for municipal policing. You know who is trained for municipal policing? Things like local law enforcement and things like FBI agents and ATF agents who, by the way, in the President's proposed budgets, actually cut funding for them.
And yet one of the things that they're trying to do in DC with the National Guard is have them back up local law enforcement.
They're picking up trash.
They are definitely picking up trash in certain places, but if you look at the crime, and you've heard Mayor Bowser say, 87% reduction in carjackings, robberies, cut by half. Why wouldn't you want that here if that is actually helping?
If the President of the United States were to have a serious conversation with me and say, what can we do, particularly when you look at the cost of the National Guard of well over $1 million a day, what could we actually do? Do you know what I would tell him? I would tell him things like, we need to make sure we're increasing funding for local law enforcement, and we have to invest in our community groups and community organizations. Like that's a serious approach, how to address this issue, but asking me to deploy my National Guard, people who are not trained for municipal policing, is just not a serious approach. Well, no, and I have no interest in fighting with the President, but I have an interest in fighting for my communities and fighting for our people. And I respect Mayor Bowser, and I'm glad that the trend that she has seen over these past few weeks has continued the downward trend that DC has seen over the past year. That's wonderful. The idea of introducing the National Guard into every major American city, it is not sustainable, particularly when you're looking at the cost.
Let's talk about President Trump. Your criticism.
One thing I do believe is that the Democrats don't have a messaging problem. There's a results problem. The Democrats have to deliver results. And stop being the party of no and slow and start being the party of yes and now. Because the frustration that people have, it is real. It is real when people are saying that, you know what, I feel like my life situation has not changed. And so people are looking at all these things and saying, I'm done with all of you. And so that's why I think we have to move with the kind of aggression that is necessary.